This is Bill Hart, World of Harthron, Tuesday night DM with Bilbo. And tonight's subject is DM Burnout. Um, just kind of talking about this subject. It came up with me and a friend of mine that's the other DM in my world. And we were just actually talking about it, and in no way and sense am I burned out DMing. Now I have been in the past, but right now I'm kind of in a renaissance of creation and working on my game, the storylines, my campaigns, my world. I've just been just in a renaissance of creation, and so I'm gonna ride this as far as it takes me before maybe I have a DM burnout. But just gonna discuss kind of what I feel like what happens with DMs burnout, and then also some cures of what you can do to get out of that kind of phase. I love DMing, and I prefer DMing over playing. And I think there's DMs out there that go, I DM because no one else in my group will DM. Others kind of like mixing it up. But I prefer DMing over playing any day. But stating that sometimes you need a break, and so DM burnout. My biggest DM burnout, and my group suffers from this the most, is I get bored of running a certain campaign, a certain group of characters. Maybe the storyline kind of dries up, and and so I get bored and I want to start a new campaign. And so my players kind of suffer through that when I'm like, okay, let's all make new first level characters, and yep, I'm not going to run those other characters that you have that you've worked on and have dealt with maybe over the last year, 2 years, 6 months, depending, situations like that. But that's my biggest thing is I get kind of, I'll get bored of a story or campaign dries out. I don't have that case right now. I have two campaigns, and usually, there used to be I just ran one campaign, had all my players in one group, and that's how I did it. And now I have two campaigns, and so I think that keeps things fresh for me going on. So let me kind of go through the burnouts before I really kind of get into what things that kind of can help you get out of that burnout or keep you fresh. So my biggest one, like I said, getting bored running a campaign. Two, life outside of the game. Sometimes things are going on outside of the game, family life, that or work life that can get in the way of your game, and you want a game, but you're just so tired with work or life that you just don't have the energy to do it on whatever weeknight or weekend that you do it. And so that's one thing. And the other one is players not getting along with each other. That can happen too in a game where the players just, there's infighting within the group, and that's just, not good. And as a DM, you're kind of caught in the middle of it, and so that can happen as well. So, what are kind of the cures? What are the things that might keep you fresh from that DM burnout? First off, take a break. Even if you run a game every weekend, and which I try to do, but with family life, a lot of times I have to take a break. My son plays football now in Canada, and so I go up there during the season of college. I'll go up there and watch him and his team play, and so I'm forced to actually take a break once a month, or twice a month, depending on home games and away games. I don't go to the away games yet. But his home games, I'll go up there, drive up to Winnipeg, 7 hours here from Minneapolis, and hang out with him for the weekend, watch his games. And so I'm forced to take a break from both campaigns. And so that's one thing in the sense of the fall. But I am really trying to run games every Saturday and Sunday. But there can be times where you just need a break, and if that's the case, just take a week off, maybe 2 weeks off, if a month, if that's necessary, just to kind of recharge your batteries. The other option is, besides DMing, playing a game, playing somebody else's campaign, even if it's only a couple weeks. One of my games, my Sunday game, Ganor Empire, we're going to take a 2 week break from my campaign, and the other DM is going to run his game, one of his campaigns where I have the leading character of that group, and so I'll get to play the next 2 Sundays before we start back up with the Ganor Empire. With my son being in fall practice, he has no time at all on the weekends to play in either of my groups, and he really is kind of headlining the story arcs of both groups. I can divert one to my Saturday group will be fine, that he's not there for the next 2 weeks. But the Ganor Empire group, they are going to hunt down, well, really track down a panther for my son's ranger character to be his companion. So it's really important that he's in that session for sure, those sessions. So I'm going to play. And so that's one way of taking a break. I've done that plenty of times where I take a break from DMing because I'm burned out and play for a while. Usually, though, right after that session, I'm ready to kind of want to DM, usually right after that session. But sometimes I just know, okay, let's just take a break. Take some time off. Let them run a campaign, run some adventures, and then, I'll get back into it. Another thing is, when I was younger, I don't do this anymore. Now I'm just hardcore D&D. That's it. I don't play any other game systems. But I used to. When I was younger and I'd get burned out, I would just switch to a different game system. I'd go maybe just purchase a new game and try it out and run my group through, a couple adventures, or run through a campaign, and then I would be fired up and go right back to old faithful Dungeons and Dragons. No matter what, it seems that I go back to the Dungeons and Dragons, no matter what different fantasy setting I might play in, or I've played Vampire Masquerade, I've played superhero games, Gamma World. I mean, it just goes on and on, the games I've played. But I always go back to D&D, and now, boy, I'd say probably for the last at least 10, 15 years, I've probably been just purely dedicated to D&D and just not going back to any other gaming systems. Another thing that kind of gets me fired up sometime is watching. I got that burnout or that feel, even if it's kind of coming on sometimes, and I'm about to run that day even, or the next day, I might watch a movie that just gets me fired up and wanting to run. For me, the fallbacks are Lord of the Rings, the Hobbit series, those trilogies. I can pop in one of those and watch an hour and a half of it, and I'm ready to go, and it's like, okay, let's run. And there's plenty of fantasy movies out there, but or even shows now with the different channels out there that you can the Sci-Fi Channel and so on, that you can just watch fantasy shows at any time you want. Another thing is read a novel. Just pick up a fantasy book, read it an hour before bedtime or whatever, 20 minutes each night, kind of keep your juices flowing. That helps as well. My biggest thing now that I've been doing is watching and listening to YouTube or D&D podcasts, and that really has kept me really in this renaissance phase of just listening to other DMs and other groups, how they are running their groups and their campaigns. And there's some great stories out there. There's some great DMs, some great players out there that are entertaining to watch on YouTube or D&D podcasts or even Twitch. But that's usually live, and for me, I usually will, pick them up on YouTube and watch them, versus watching it on Twitch live, just timing wise. Busy person, so that's kind of the things that I use to, help me going in the game. And right now, I am just super excited about the direction of my stories going, how my campaigns are developing. I'm actually, far ahead in my stories. A lot of times, I might be a couple weeks or a few weeks ahead of the group. But for my Saturday group, unless they take a left turn somewhere drastically, um, leading the group in a different direction than I think they're going, I will probably have that campaign busy through here until I finish it. The characters are they're average. The average level in the group is 7th level, and but that being said, they're anywhere from 4th to 10th level characters in the group. But I have it set where they could go to 15th level before I kind of end that campaign. And maybe, who knows, maybe it goes higher. But to be honest, the way I have it built right now, the way I have my story arc built for them, probably 15th level. And I know a couple of them watch this, and they might be disappointed that that's as far as they're going. But that's a great thing. I mean, I usually don't let my games go that high because there's so much risk. When characters get up this level, you die, you can go disintegrate, and there can be situations like that in the game where it's going to be deadly. My Ganor Empire, that's fresh. I'm building that group kind of adventure at a time, and so there I have 2 adventures right now plotted out for them, and then I'll kind of go from there. I'm starting to work on a 3rd adventure for them, as long as they kind of keep going where I think they're going, or how I can lead them in the story. And so that one's a little different. I haven't quite, picked up where we're going in that direction right now. It's been fun just running some, quick adventures, usually 2 sessions. There's, through the adventure that I have planned for them, and that could be the case for the next 2 or 3 adventures. Like I said, I have 2 already for them, but I'm starting to think of some ideas for a 3rd one, and so I'll have that. But I don't really have a sense of theme or direction where they're going or where their ending story will be yet. And sometimes I just don't have it. Sometimes I just go with the flow as the game's moving on, and then just run the group until I get DM Burnout. And like I said, for me, that's usually in the sense where I lose interest in the story arc or the campaign or the characters, any of those things. If I get bored, I'm usually ready to just go, okay, I'm going to start up a new campaign. And I usually, between that, I'll take a break. So all of a sudden, if I'm not DMing for a month, it's because I'm working on a new campaign. And some of my players won't be happy. Some of my players like it, like that I switch. It's a mixed bag of your players, but they all understand. Sometimes they don't like it, but they understand that, hey, they want me to DM. That's kind of the situation's how we have to go. So that's kind of my advice for DMs, future DMs, current DMs. And when you feel that burnout, figure out what you can use to kind of either, 1, stay out of the burnout, or 2, like I said, take a break, play, take a month off from the game if need be, and then get back into it It's just find what works for you. So I hope that's good advice for you. And remember, it's cool to be a geek. Pass it on. And I hope you all have a great Tuesday evening. And I will be DMing this weekend and having our sessions out on YouTube Saturday and Sunday. So please watch, and thanks a lot. Bye.